Hey everyone, I'm Alex, as you know, and I am joined here with Ricardo Laganaro of Arvory Immersive Experiences out of Brazil. And I just had the opportunity to try the award winning VR film called The Line, and this guy directed it, and it is an absolute pleasure and honor to be sitting next to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed, man.
So, if you haven't heard of The Line, I would be surprised because this short film, which is very much Pixar esque from my experience of it, just won Best VR Experience at the Venice Film Awards. And this is a film festival that's been going on for how many years?
76 years.
76 years. This is the oldest film festival in the world. And this guy right here just won Best VR Experience for this film that I just watched in VR called The Line. Um, Very much Pixar esque, deep meanings. And honestly, when I took the headset off, I needed like some time of reflection to kind of like think about what I just experienced. So, my first question is, this is a very digestible story for young and old and everyone alike. Is this something that you had in mind before VR? Did you have VR in mind when you came up with the idea for this story?
I think we began with this project trying to make something that was for people that liked VR, but also for people that never tried VR before. So when you said about Pixar, I think it's like the same mindset they had for CGI like 20 years ago, 30
Mm-hmm.
years ago
Mm-hmm.
for VR, how to make it in a way that everybody can enjoy. And people that say, no, I'm not into games, I don't like VR, realize that they could have good stories and good experience inside the headset, and they understand that it's a platform and everyone will have good experience in VR.
Mm-hmm.
And then this experience tries to have like a simple story that everybody can understand, but being like a fable with deeper messages that everyone can enjoy in a different way depending on the phase people are in their lives,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to be more meaningful because people don't expect it's a love story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a love story that happens in a scale model between a character that it's in love with another character, but they are both trapped on their tracks. They can't meet because of it. So you have to learn to help them getting closer, and doing that you also get in a track somehow, and then somehow all of the three characters, like they and you, have to learn together how to change a little bit the routine to maybe things go well for all of us, right? All of them.
It honestly was beautiful. It left me feeling something, which I think is the ultimate. That's the ultimate goal of any kind of art form. Um, so obviously, you knew you had something good on your hands when this started coming together. You went to this film festival. I mean, were you taken back? Were you like, oh yeah, I had this in the bag? Like, how did you feel?
No, it's amazing, right? Just to give you an idea, we are from Brazil, and before this project, in all the other editions of the event, never a Brazilian had won a lion for films, for short films, for
Nice.
documentaries, none. So it was the first time Brazilian project had a lion. Like,
From not just a VR thing. This is any film at the
yes,
Venice Film Festival.
and this is great because then when the press had to cover it in Brazil, they had to talk about VR, and they had to say that VR is a new art form that can give prizes and can be a new market, can have public. And it was really, really even funny to see that they didn't know how to explain that it's a film that you have to put glasses and it'll be on theater soon, and say no, it's not going to be in theaters. But that it's great like that we can help to build this new culture of audience in a different way, not only for gamers, because gamers get well VR already,
Mm-hmm.
but people that like good stories can enjoy VR.
Mm-hmm.
People that like have like their like emotions through different ways to see it and live a story could enjoy VR even if they are not into technology.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really important for us at Arvory. Like we know that this art form is going to be big, and we have to help it get to the maximum public that we can
Mm-hmm.
as soon as possible, so everybody can work and make VR as a way of living, right?
That's amazing, and I we all appreciate you for that. It's pretty amazing that that we're using VR to do this kind of stuff right now. And one of the things that I really like about the line is that this isn't just a a 3D movie or even just a VR movie. Like there's ways of engaging with it that aren't necessarily like being in a game. You know, I mean, you start this experience sitting on the floor. Like I think that's really unique.
Yes, I think we tried to evoke some of the emotions we had when we were playing as kids in our room. You know, that usually you put all the toys on the floor and you grab them and you create a world and create this story, and you have to stand up and put it on the table, and you have to move to create this kind of stories. And for me, one of the most beautiful side effects of VR is that we are reconnecting the body when we
Yeah.
are having like an intellectual experience, because usually when you are having an intellectual experience, you're just like your body is almost dead and you're
Right.
just looking at something and still, you know. And now we can have stories that we have to move to make the story go forward. And I think it's important because a lot of visual artists, narrative designers, and developers together working in the project, and everyone giving inputs, so we could create something that could be really unique for VR. Because if we're just game developers, it would be a lot of interactions but no story, or just
Right. Right.
writers or directors or narrative designers could be just like a 360 film but no interactions.
Right.
Or sometimes people put some interactions but they are disconnected for the story from the story, so it's just like a gimmick, or it's something that makes you distracted and you forget about the story
Right.
because of the interaction.
Right.
So trying to find this middle spot, the sweet spot between creating a narrative and also using the interactions as a narrative tools to make you feel emotions because of these interactions, it's hard, and it's something that we think it's super exciting to discover.
I would say, as being someone who has experienced it, because I can't even say watched it. Like I didn't
Yes,
watch anything. I
yes, yes. We
experienced it.
prefer this, but
Yeah, as somebody who experienced it, you know, I would say that you've done a good job of that. And I also wanted to mention the visuals in this game, like or movie, I guess I should call it. I mean, I've
experience
been
or
talking about
whatever.
games all week.
We have to invent a word for that.
Yes, we do. We do. That's a good idea. We're going to come
Yes.
up with something. But I do want to talk about the visuals a little bit because, as you mentioned, you're kind of interacting with this miniature scale table with all of these tracks that everything's moving along, and these are small pieces. Like the characters, when you're looking at them, they are small on the table. So I reach in with my headset. I'm getting up close to these tiny, tiny figures, and there's so much detail in all of the crevices, and you can see like the lines of the wood on his little hands and stuff. And I was blown away by how the game is, or the experience is, not just with the narrative, and the voice acting was great, all the sound and everything is great too, but the visuals were very, very striking to me. And I think that that is something that is that we don't see in a lot of VR experiences. A lot of them are like trying to pack as much as they can into a small container, but this visually, I think, stands out from a lot of other VR experiences.
Yeah, we had some pillars from the beginning of the experience that we wanted to achieve, you know, and build the experience on top of them. And one of them that we really want to had like cinematic visuals. You know, I came from filmmaking. Some of the visual artists also did VFX and animation in Brazil, and we wanted to do something that were like above the average of the VR experience we see. You know, if we're creating like a really beautiful and moving, compelling narrative, we want to make graphics that would be like at the same level of the kind of motions we wanted to achieve. And people compare, you know, doesn't matter if they are in different medium, if they are used to see really beautiful things in a flat screen, when they see in VR, they don't care that it's the new technology. They say, oh, but this is ugly.
Right.
You know,
Right. Right.
so
Right.
we
Right.
think we have a big responsibility when we create stories for everyone, because people that are inside the community, they and me, I do that. Like we say, okay, the graphic is not that good, but like the interactions are great,
Right.
the story are great, let's go for it. Okay, but if we're talking to the mainstream, we have to create things that are at the same level of things that are used to see, and then this will be compelling for them, right?
Well, I think that's a big undertaking that you guys are doing, but we're all very happy that you are, and
Yes.
I feel lucky to have had the opportunity to experience the line. When can everyone else experience this?
Now we are doing some other festivals in the world. So we are going to London now in Raindance Film Festival. Then after that, Asian premiere in Taiwan.
So
So
fun.
yes, and then beginning of next year, we'll probably be in one of the big festivals here. So we submitted and waiting for the answer for our Sundance of South by Southwest or Tribeca. And after that, we are planning to release a home version, home use version, and then we'll adapt some things because by now we need like a big area, like 10 by 10 feet,
Right.
9 by 9 feet,
Right.
to make it like
To make it
usable for people doing it at home. But for sure, like in the beginning of next year, we'll have a home version so everyone that has a headset can try it.
That's amazing. And I mean, what platforms are we looking at? All platforms or?
We're having some discussions,
Fair
you
enough.
know, with some like people, and we don't know yet,
Okay.
but we want to have it as in as many platforms as possible because we want to everyone see it, and we think this can be a good experience for people that never tried VR before, understand the potential of the medium. So as much people as can we can show it, the better, right?
I actually agree entirely. There's a lot of first time VR experiences that are not good for everyone. And this is something that you could put grandma into, probably,
Yeah.
assuming she can sit down and stand up and walk a few steps. And she would experience something truly profound and truly immersive. And hopefully that'll help us take the next step into turning VR into a truly mainstream medium.
Yes, and even that's funny because we showed to really old people in Venice because Venice Film Festival is really traditional. So we have a lot of like cinephiles, people that really love movies and that are trying to discover these new art forms to that new ways to do filmmaking or storytelling in films or cinema. And we had like people from with 75 years old trying it, and after that they thanked us because I didn't sit on the floor like for 30 years, and now I had this emotion again as if I was a kid playing on the floor and having to stand up and then going on the floor again. So the experience is calm, it's slow, so people have the time to move, right? It's not like being skillful, it's not like other experience that I love, but you have to move fast and be really good in sports or something like that. So I think this story is for everyone, and we have to get used again to move. I think as like this society, you know, because we are getting more and more used to just sit and look into the palm of our hands and not moving at all. So I think this can be good for all kinds of people, all ages, all genders, everything.
Speaking from experience, I think you have something very profound, and I am very excited for your future. And I mean, you already have gotten some kind of confirmation on that going to Venice and taking home the lion. So if you haven't heard of the line yet, check it out. And as soon as you have the opportunity, I would highly recommend you get yourself into this experience and experience it. It's touching and profound in the same way that a Disney Pixar movie is. And hopefully, we'll be talking about Arvory the same way we're talking about Disney Pixar in the future.
That's a main goal, but we would love to. And thanks for saying that. Like we really appreciate because it's important to have people that know and understand and love VR talking about this experience and showing that it can be also a good way to create content in VR.
Ricardo Laganaro, it is an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks for coming by, and hope to see you soon.
I hope so too.